All right, welcome back, Grayscalers. So in this video, I'm going to talk about why the Grayscale Bitcoin Cash BCHG Trust could, in my opinion, could 1000x this cycle off the prices that we had in the bear market and even exceed that potentially. I just want to talk about the price points of this. I also want to talk about Bitcoin Cash a little bit to start this out with. So I started doing crypto videos like on Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin last summer. I talked a lot about Bitcoin Cash last summer, and to try to help raise awareness for it and give my thoughts on what it could do in the bull market. And there are a lot of people that like Bitcoin Cash. There are a lot of people that think it's outdated, that it's old. It is an OG crypto, right? It's been around the block a long time, but it's got a lot of things going for it. It's faster and cheaper than Bitcoin. It's got the Bitcoin name in it. It's been labeled a commodity by Gary Gensler in one of the presentations he gave. So was Litecoin. So they're both there, but Bitcoin Cash was. Bitcoin Cash is a big name. It's a big name. It's on a lot of exchanges. Litecoin's on more exchanges, but Bitcoin Cash is in quite a few. And I think it's going to do really good. A couple people on YouTube, I mentioned this the other day, I've been doing TA on Bitcoin Cash, think that in the coming weeks, we could essentially see a price doubling of Bitcoin Cash, which would be phenomenal. The closer we get to $1,000 price point means that we're going to be able to rocket to even greater heights in the bull market. Like, for example, if we have $1,000 price point on BCH going into September, I think we're going to have no problem hitting a $5,000 price point, even a 10,000, maybe even beyond easily. For the bull market for Bitcoin Cash. It's a no-brainer to me that we should be able to do this. No guarantees, obviously. This isn't financial advice. I'm just a dude in a Jeep. But that's what I think I could do. Now, let me just talk about BCHG. I think it could actually outperform LTC on this cycle. I think there's a possibility of that simply because of, a couple things. One, I think Bitcoin Cash has a higher range farther to go that it could potentially go in the bull run in comparison to Litecoin in terms of like a total return. And I think the premiums that we see on BCHG could be bigger this cycle than they were last cycle. Just for reference, LTC on the Litecoin Trust had on average about a 12x premium during most of the bull market, peaked as high as 50. BCHG had a premium that was less than LTC on average. It was like 7 or 8x premium during most of the bull market, peaked up at 20x. We could see the premiums for BCHG peak above what they were and come more in line with what we saw with LTC on last cycle, maybe even go beyond that. I don't know how crazy this cycle is going to be. I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody has a crystal ball, so who knows, right? But those are the two things that factor into the price points of BCHG. So BCHG, just as a refresher for anybody that's new and that's watching my video and came from the Bitcoin Cash community or anywhere and is hearing about BCHG for the first time, I think it's a phenomenal investment. I'll tell you what I think it can get up to and what others think it can get up to, but I think it's going to do really well. One of the reasons I get into it is because in other Grayscale trusts is you can make more money in the Grayscale trust than you can in native crypto because of the premium play. Okay, so where could it potentially go as a potential high? Well, Cesar from Cesar Gets Crypto, a lot of us watch his stuff. If you haven't seen his stuff, just Google C-ZAR Bitcoin Cash or something like that, and you'll find his channel. So Cesar has done price predictions on BCHG and the other Grayscale trusts, as well as underlying native crypto tokens like Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin, etc. So one of the things that he thinks that BCHG could get up to for a high price point this bull market is $500, all the way up to potentially $1,500. So $1,500 is kind of like the outer limits, like all the way up to $1,500. If we got up to 1,500, if we did that, even if we got up to 1,000, man, it's like people who got into BCHG in the bear market when prices were under $1 are going to see 1,000x returns on their investment, right? That's what they're going to see. Phenomenal. Now, most of my shares were purchased above $1, but I've got a few shares that I purchased, below $1. I think my cost base is like 71 cents for some of my lots, which is crazy. So if we get above, a $710 price point, I'll be doing a 1,000x on those shares, not on my whole portfolio. I wish I was, but it just shows you, like, if certain things play out, like this is why getting in to these trusts in the bear market and getting the best prices is just so important. I think most of us will be smart enough next cycle to get in during the bear market so we get the biggest bang for our buck for our investment. biggest return there. But anyway, for this cycle, that's kind of the high. The high that we're projected to get is somewhere between $500 and $1,500. $1,500 being the upper limit, right? So if we were to reach that, that's pretty crazy. If somebody bought at $1, even less than $1, Jesus, that's 71 cents. You know, that's if we actually hit $1,500, that's close to a 2,000x. It's crazy. What that means, like for every $1,000 you put in at the 70 cents or whatever, you'd end up with 2 million. Like that's it's bonkers. Now, realistic price points. Okay, so whatever I do for my personal planning, I look at the theoretical high and I go, okay, well, it would be awesome if we saw that. It would be awesome if that happened. It's obviously not guaranteed. Nobody has a crystal ball. So what's maybe a more realistic thing that I can look at in terms of price points? Well, what I often do is I take an estimate and I chop it in half. So for like a $1,500 high price point, I go, well, maybe the high price point is $750. And then, you know, if I want to give even more conservative, you know, if I want to figure out like what the price on average is going to be for the trust throughout the course of most of the cycle, I take like 40% of that. So I might take, you know, like $300 might be average price, you know, for BCHG potentially, you know, unless something major changes. But if we had where people are thinking, we could see some very high prices in BCHG. So if this is the first time you're watching this video, you're learning about BCHG, I think it has phenomenal potential. I really do. You can get into the Grayscale Trust, BCHG, LTCN, and others through Fidelity, Schwab, E-Trade. BCHG is listed at Robinhood and M1. Can't get the other trusts there. Actually, I think you can get LTCN at M1. You can't get it at Robinhood, but it's in a number of places where you can get this. If you are outside the country specifically and you're looking at getting into BCHG, well, just join Discord. There's a link at the pinned comment below. We got 3,000 investors from all around the world. Once you're in there, we've got an FAQ section where we actually list all the brokers worldwide that allow you to buy BCHG and some of the other trusts as well. So I think it's a great investment. But that's kind of what, you know, we're looking at. We're looking at a potential, if we hit a high, you know, around, actually not even 1,000. I mean, it's like if we hit like 700, there are going to be people who got in, you know, during the bear market who will see 1,000x return on their investment if they got in at like 70 cents, right? And so if they got in at 70 cents and we do hit a price point of $1,400, $1,500, they're looking at a 2,000x. Just mind-boggling. I don't know for sure if we're going to hit these. I don't know. Nobody can tell. Nobody has a crystal ball. I would like to think that we can hit these. But again, with these high price points, I've talked about this before, this is not going to be something that lasts a long time. It's going to be a flash in the pan. It's probably going to be something that lasts for like an hour or two or just a couple hours max, you know, and then it drops back down in price. And it's very difficult sometimes to try to cash out at that price, because even if that price comes along, there are a lot of people in line waiting to cash out at that price. And by the time you get in queue, so to speak, to cash out, well, the price might be, the liquidity might be gone and the price might have dropped significantly. So there's no guarantee of getting that, but that's a potential high price point. So that's one of the reasons why I estimate my estimates for like what's reasonable are much lower. You know, I cut it in half because I'm like, okay, well, you know, if I can't capture that, or if that doesn't happen, half of that seems reasonable. And then like, you know, 40% of that remaining number is maybe what we'd see on average in the trust during the bull market. This is going to be, by the way, folks, you kind of work in reverse. So here's like, let's say we spike up in the fall, you know, to a price point of like $200 on BCHG. Let's say we spec up to that. Well, then in my mind, what I'm doing, at least for myself, I'm kind of doing a reverse operation. I'm going, okay, is $200 going to be average for BCHG? If so, what could the peak be? And I kind of work in reverse, and I go, well, maybe the peak is only going to be 500, you know, if we're starting out with an average of 200. So we'll all have to see, and none of this is guaranteed. Like I said, this isn't financial advice. I'm just a dude in a Jeep, and I don't have a crystal ball. Nobody does. But if we hit these numbers, phenomenal returns for so many people. Anybody getting in now even, I think it's a great return. There was somebody on Discord the other day, you know, that said, you know, they were investing in BCHG and LTCN, and they said, you know, it's like, hey, you know, basically I'm an index fund guy. like I come from the world of index funds, so getting even a 10x return on these trusts seems unbelievable. And it's true. Like if that's the world you're coming from, where it's like you're getting a 10 or 15, max 20% return per year on an index fund, well, doing a 10x even, in a crypto run is just mind blowing, because it's way more than what you're used to. And this is like the power of Grayscale. It's the power of crypto. It's so much better, in my opinion, for making people wealthy than dividend ETFs, than index funds, than growth stocks, right? And there's nothing wrong with those things. Any of those assets, they do really well and they can make people really wealthy, but the fastest path to wealth is investing in crypto and Grayscale. I think Grayscale is the best asset to be in, just in my opinion, for a number of reasons, because of the returns, tax benefits, just all that stuff. That's why I like it so much. All right. If you guys have any questions, leave them below in the comment, or join Discord and ask about Grayscale there, or ask about whatever type of investing you're interested in, because we talk about all types of investing on Discord. So it's free to join. No scams, no e-letters that you got to sign up for, nothing like that. We got a really good crew. So, all right. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are enjoying your Friday. Hope you guys have a nice weekend. We'll see you soon. Take care.